Umineko no Naku Koruni and Umineko Chiru is an 8-chapter mystery story written by Ryukishi07, the same mad genius behind the Higurashi games, which I also reviewed and enjoyed. Let's cut to the chase. Umineko is a great game, but it has a pretty fatal Achilles heel for me, its length. Other than that, Umineko has a lot going for it. Story, characters, and everything, but that one flaw may have killed it for me. The game takes place primarily in the year 1986, during the time frame of October 4th and October 5th on a small, secluded island named Rokinjima, 10 kilometers around and owned by Kinzo, the head of the wealthy Ushiromiya family. Kinzo is near death, and his family members arrive on the island for the annual family conference, where the adults will plan how Kinzo's assets will be divided once he has died. Also on the island are other family members who live there, 5 of Kinzo's servants, and his personal physician. After the other family members arrive, a typhoon traps everybody on the island, and shortly after, strange things start to happen and people start dying. There are whispers of a mysterious witch who roams the island, killing the inhabitants for a sacred ritual, and paranoia makes everybody go crazy. Who done it? Why done it, and how done it. That's the basic premise of the game, but I promise you, things get a whole lot more complicated than that. The first thing you may notice is that this plot sounds very similar to the Agatha Christie novel, And Then There Were None, one of my favorite mystery books of all time. You'd be right, because this game's author did get a lot of inspiration from that story, and many other classic mystery novels. This game is as much as a homage to mystery novels as it is one itself. However, it's more than a mystery. It's like a bunch of mysteries within mysteries, and the game has a lot of fantasy elements and horror elements going for it too. Umineko is a pretty big game. I'm not going to bother going into all the characters, but just basically know that there are 18 suspects, 18 personalities, and a lot of things to keep track of. All of the characters are distinct, well developed, and you'll make some kind of emotional connection to at least most of them. Some characters you'll love, there's some you'd love to slap, and some you'd like to ask what the hell is going on this friggin' island. Maria, we would all like to punch, like that is one little girl we'd all like to slap with a pool noodle. In total, the characters were all good, not particularly original, but interesting, and you honestly believe that each and every one of them is capable of being the culprit behind the strange events on this island. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this review, the plot. This has to be one of the most complicated stories I've ever read, played, anything, with literally 2 main plots going on at the same time and countless subplots to follow. I can't go into much detail, but there's so much information to keep track of. And you know what? There's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's a really beautifully intricate plot that ties so much together so well that you can't help but be impressed by this author's breadth and ability. The story can switch emotions on a dime, and like Higurashi, it can make you feel such an insane range of emotions that make you swing from laughing to hiding under your pillows like a 3-year-old scared of the dark. It's a great story. I'd like to emphasize that this game can get super creepy and uncomfortable, like maybe more terrifying than Higurashi. There's just so much to Umineko, like the cool fantasy elements, these human struggles, the meta-textual references. There's so much going on, I can't even begin to explain it. You just kind of have to play it. More importantly than anything else, the story's logic is sound, which is especially important for a good mystery novel. However, let's talk about the one major issue I had with this game, and I'm totally willing to admit that this is completely my fault, but I think it's a valid issue for us adult gamers. This game is too friggin' long. I started playing Umineko in April, and I didn't finish it until March of the next year. Of course, I didn't play the game every night. I'm a pretty fast reader, and I tried to stay committed to the game, but despite how awesome the story is, It's hard to stay that interested in anything for that long of a time. Depending on how fast you read, reading a chapter can take close to a dozen hours, give or take. I didn't time it, but the point is there's a lot of reading to do, and this story is massive. Like, there's over 10 hours worth of videos explaining the events of the story. 10 hours to explain the story, not even read it. There's this guy online, look it up, Umineko Explained, 10-hour video on what he thinks is the alternate ending to this game. Yeah, there's not even one ending. They haven't even decided that there's a real ending. Even the creator, guys, the creator said that this is the ending. And there's a whole debate out there in the whole community saying that's not the actual ending. So if you can't even believe the guy who wrote the story, then this game's it's got a lot going on, okay? It's got a lot going on. So add on all that time you would take to research everything and come to your own conclusions about what really happened. And the issue is that there's a whole lot of important facts to keep up with and remember. So ideally you'd like to read the whole thing with as little time in between as possible. However, if you work full-time or have other time-consuming commitments, then that isn't a possibility. See, I can leave my Pokemon game 20 hours in and then come back a month later and not miss a beat. You can't do that with Umineko. You'll forget who was in this room at this time, why this person couldn't be there, why these two are mad at each other. There's a bunch of other little things that are crucial to you really following and enjoying the story 100%. Again, with a game that's so incredibly detailed and complicated, you have to be paying attention and commit to it. You see, this is generally why things in the mystery genre are short, like most Sherlock Holmes stories, because there's a danger of getting too complicated and too lengthy and losing the reader, unless you're a show like Lost. The most frustrating part of this length is that the author could have cut a lot of fat and made this story a lot shorter. I know that would take away from the game's complexity, but brevity is the soul of wit, my friends. Again, this is totally not a gripe against the content of the game, but more of a format issue for me. Just a disclaimer, this is a great, interesting, mind-blowing game, but you have to have the readiness to commit to it to enjoy it 100%, and you really have to be patient. The visuals in this game are pretty good. I absolutely love the atmosphere this game creates, particularly the setting and how the game merges fantasy and reality. The game has a lot of visual effects that pull you into the story, though there aren't too many of them. The character models are also pretty good, though not quite as funny looking as Higurashi, but still simultaneously cartoonish and threatening. The sound effects in the game do a great job of boosting the story, scaring the crap out of you sometimes, and making you really excited other times. The soundtrack in particular is friggin' amazing, like damn impressive. It hits on so much, and it's such a quality soundtrack that I often find myself hitting shuffle on a Umineko playlist while I'm working away, and I get hooked for hours. It's a great soundtrack, and you'll find at least a few tunes that really stick with you. In conclusion, Umineko is a fantastic murder mystery novel, but its length really took away from the experience for me personally. I believe that the story is a little too ambitious and really complex, and expects so much from you as a reader. I know this story is genius, and I respect this author so much for the trailblazing he did here, but I just kind of wish it came in a smaller package, less ambitious. The story is great, but very complicated. The characters are great, the music is great, the visuals are great. I really can't say anything bad about Umineko, but I couldn't quite enjoy it to its fullest potential, making this one of the most frustrating reviews and gameplay experiences I've had as a gamer. I recommend Umineko only if you're ready for a monster, like I'm talking a monster of a plot, you like mystery novels, you have a very open mind, and a lot of free time on your hands. Otherwise, it may be tough to fully enjoy this tale. In any case, people love Umineko, and there's a good reason for it. Check it out if you have the time. Thanks for watching.